Hey everybody. We wanted to do a discussion about abandonment. I feel that it's a conversation that not only that like we need to have in relationships, but just overall and the trauma that stems from it. So I wanted to start with providing the definition of abandonment and then branching off a little bit into what it does in relationships, not just intimate relationships in like with a boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, what have you, but also in family relationships because that's important. So abandonment is the action or fact of abandoning, or being abandoned. So that's using the word to define the word. And what does that mean, right? So it says the voluntary leaving of a person to whom one is bound to by special relationship as wife, husband, or child, desertion. So when you think about it, to be abandoned is to feel left alone. And that's like huge because I mean, I specifically can say I felt alone a lot. In my own experience, like just in the past 2 years, emotional abandonment was huge for me. And because I'm a hugely emotional person, it was a lot. Like, to felt left out in the cold, that like my feelings, my experience, what I was dealing with didn't matter to someone who mattered a lot to me. Um, so it was deep and it was hard and it was like, wait, but hey friend, I'm having some feels. Can we talk about it? And it was kind of just like hard no, I'm out. And then I've checked out and I've checked so far out that I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to be around you. And now I'm going to spend a lot of time away from you. And it's like, oh, but wait, what does that do to me? And what does that mean I'm going to do now? So, personally, what I did was I kind of got really isolated and really distant from people and like turned in. I cried a lot, because I didn't know how to cope. Like, it was kind of like, hey, person I thought I was going to spend my life with don't really want to talk to me. Who else is going to want to talk to me? And it was just difficult. And I'm laughing because like now I'm in a completely different space as I'm in this video with my sister, my sissy poo, Cassandra, and my cousin, Jasmine, and we're talking about something. And to me, it's like I'm way more comfortable now speaking about this. Like the trauma from that experience alone, like I'm even now still unpacking and realizing that, ooh, I don't want to be that vulnerable again. So I'm just gonna not. Like, you just not gonna come into this little space I got. Like, I got me a nice little bubble. And you could get, like, bubble start here. You could get, like, right here. So you could get, like, this close. And then that's it. Like, then it's like, yeah, I'ma go. Because we ain't gonna get abandoned again. And that's also not healthy. But I think it's a natural reaction. And it's hard, but then it's also like realizing when abandonment happens in your family. Like, my sisters are 9 and 7 years older than me, so at some point they went off to college, they started to live their own lives, and I'm like, wait, baby sister's still here, could still use you guys to like potentially kick me out your room and let me know you don't want to hang out anymore. So it just struck me, like, you start to kind of sort of realize, like, when you were abandoned in one experience, you kind of react in a way, and then like you create a wall, and then when somebody gets in that wall and then they abandon you too, you kind of like, oh, never again.
This don't feel too good.
Here go my bubble. I can see y'all can't see me. And it's tough. Like, I know just speaking for me, it's been tough, and navigating this new experience of attempting to let people in, I'm kind of just like, hold up, we gonna go at this real slow, snail's pace. If you don't like it, then you can enter the same way you came in, boo boo. I'm good. So then I just wanted to segue because I just talked a lot, but there's a question on Google, like, what does it mean when you are abandoned? Abandoned, desert, forsake, meant to leave without intending to return. So then when you add that, like, meaning to leave and never intending to return, like, that's deep. And like, I don't know. I mean, my sisters always came back. So
they the only real ones. They came
they're the
back.
real ones right there. And I'll say even in the relationship that has taken a turn, like we've gravitated back and have a friendship now. So wasn't a total loss, but like I can't imagine feeling abandoned and like understanding this person may never circle back.
Yeah.
What do you guys?
For me, it was my mother, as you all know. And I really didn't even know what I was dealing with was abandonment until I started doing sessions. And then it was like, I want to keep people, even if they're not bad. So I was the opposite end of the spectrum, where you pushed people away. I was like, I just want to love all of you.
Like, you get love, you get love, you get love.
Everybody gets love.
You are her Oprah.
Yes. I was just giving and giving and giving, and even if the relationships were bad for me, I was just like, it's okay, I can still love you. It's okay. Hold on, let me put a Band-Aid right here. I'm good. And then I got older and I realized that it was abandonment issues. I was keeping people around because of my fear of being left. I had a fear of being left because I hadn't dealt with the underlying issue of my mother leaving me. And especially being bullied. Family members can say the meanest of things because they know us. And growing up, my family said a lot of mean things. They would say, oh, your mother never loved you. That's why she left and stuff like that. So that plays a part in me dealing with that. So for me, not only was it dealing with the abandonment, but then it was, you had to add on, now I'm abandoned. I don't want people to leave me. So in order for them not to leave me, I have to be exactly what they want me to be. So what does that mean? That means I literally have to destroy Jasmine. I have to give away pieces, even though I love that about me, or even if I love something about me, if someone else doesn't like it, then it has to go because it's not what they like and it's not what they want. And I need to keep them and I need to hold on to them. And I need to be and put on this mask and play this character, basically. And I got to the point where it was just like, how many characters are you going to need to be? Like, why not just shed all of that and just be you? And I'm finally at the place where it's just like, I actually have a oracle deck that I love. And it's called the Blunt AF Oracle deck. And one of the cards says, I love you for free. And what that card has taught me is I can love you for free, but that doesn't mean that my relationship to you is for free. Like, it means I love you unconditionally, but that doesn't mean that my relationship with you is unconditional. No, because for me, for my safety and for my mental safety and for my emotional safety, I have to have healthy boundaries. And that's what I didn't have before. And now in life, I'm finding it, later in life, I'm finding that boundaries are everything. Especially dealing with family relationships and just relationships and friendships in general, because boundaries protect you and that other person. And when you don't have boundaries, you leave yourself open to a lot of hurt, a lot of I want to say manipulation, but at the end of the day, it's all about self-love. Like, for me, setting boundaries is self-love. And that was my take. Like, I started loving myself and started being and standing in my truth and standing in who I truly am, my geeky, nerdy, silly ass self, and accepting that and started embracing the bits and pieces of me that I threw away for other people. And that was my come to Jesus moment about abandonment. How about you, Cass?
I feel like in my life I've had periods where of abandonment from different aspects of abandonment. So I think when we think of abandonment, we kind of always think of like from a perspective of someone leaving you, but I don't believe that's the only type of abandonment. I think there's abandonment where you don't have a voice that people listen to, and so they're abandoning your, like, I would say boundaries, but not boundaries, but they're like abandoning it feels like you're being abandoned because you don't have a space where you feel safe to speak on what is bothering you or whatnot. And I think that was my childhood. So my first official brush with abandonment was my father. My father was not in my life. I was a baby. I don't really remember much about why he left, but I'm now learning stories as I'm older, and my mom is telling me things now. But I think that created some type of trauma that I just never really healed from, because someone's dad is like their biggest, a woman's dad is their biggest like support system, and I never had that. And then it was that, and then it was having other father figures who weren't really great fathers. And so that aspect of abandonment just kind of was never healed. It was one of those things that I just learned to cope with, never really figured out how to deal with it. And then my other experience with abandonment was like just growing up and not really having a voice, not being able to say like something was wrong, or like that I was not feeling okay, and not having it kind of bounce back to me being ungrateful or me being a child in an adult's world. So it's kind of like that aspect of abandonment isn't a physical presence that is not there with you, but it's just you're present. Like my personal presence was never really there because I never really grew up having one. I don't know if that makes any sense.
It's almost like you're saying you weren't given the space to be acknowledged, and because of that you were abandoned.
Exactly.
Or be heard.
Yeah, which is huge, and that, I mean, especially for little girls, is huge. Like I'll say, I watch any video. My parents freaking rock stars. I don't care what they came from. We always had the opportunity to sit down and talk and express ourselves, and then like getting my bonus family, as I call them, my new families, and like realizing like, so y'all don't do this, like this not commonplace for y'all, like we can't. We just not gonna share.
We're not gonna share with the group. Okay.
Like y'all not gonna tell me how I hurt you, and then I'm gonna say how I feel like you hurt me, and then we gonna try to do conflict resolution. Like that's not commonplace.
We don't do that. We didn't do that.
We didn't.
So
it was always like yelling.
Yeah. And much yells.
Yeah. Much. Very
yells.
Much. It was always the blame game.
Yeah.
And I think now that I'm conscious enough, and now that I'm more self-aware, it's not about the blame game. It's just, you hurt me, and I'm pretty sure that I hurt you.
Yeah.
So what's the middle ground? Like, where do we go from there? How do we bridge this and move forward and in an environment that's both mentally, spiritually, and emotionally healthy for all?
Yeah.
And looking back, especially because I was raised by my dad, yeah. My dad did the best that he could, and in his very own way, my dad was abandoned, and my mom's own way, she was abandoned as well. So I realized that I literally was the product of my parents' trauma, and that the abandonment didn't fall on me. It wasn't my responsibility; it was theirs, but it was done to them. So what do you do with that? You heal that within yourself so you don't pass that pain along to your children. And I think that's the most important part right there is how do you stop the pain from going down the family line?
And I think it's also because in our generation we have not to say that our parents didn't have that ability to, but we have more connections to technology where we can look up, oh, this is what this is. I'm feeling depression, I'm feeling anxiety, whereas our parents were like, they were raised by people who didn't believe that stuff existed within our community.
It was like, you got to suck it up, or you're sensitive,
or you're sensitive,
church.
And we were raised by those people.
Or go to church.
Yes, go to church.
Pray about it, pray it away. You got to pray it away.
And I think a part of like healing that trauma, and I'm not completely healed, I won't sit here and say that I'm like 100% gone, but me attempting to heal that trauma was recognizing that aspect of my parents, and recognizing, especially my mom, because my mom, I will never say that my mom didn't do the best that she could. She was young when she had 2 children. So, and she never really learned how to deal with things because she didn't have parents that were teaching her how to deal with things. She was abandoned on so many different levels. And so, like you said, you're a product of that trauma. I'm a product of my mom's trauma. And it took me kind of realizing that my mom, like, raised 3 children to adulthood, regardless of the faults and the the terrible things that have happened in the past, she still raised us 3 children, never getting in trouble with the law, never getting into drugs, which was a huge rampant thing within our community, gangs and drug related things, keeping us away from the wrong people. She did that. Like, my mom's not perfect, and I think in realizing that my mom is human too, that I could realize that her mistakes weren't necessarily from a place of malice. It was just she didn't know how to deal with shit, and still doesn't know how to deal with stuff, but she's older now, and I think that...
And I feel like for us, it's more so, now that we learned how to heal, we can teach them how to heal. So it's like an each one, teach one kind of thing. It's just like, you brought me up into adulthood, you raised me this way, and now it's my turn to teach you something different. Like my dad, he meditates now. he be doing he be doing his little sound bowl, and even my mom, like, she sends me and my brother weekly scriptures, and I love that, and we communicate, and communication is always open, and so like it's helped a lot, especially me being self-aware about myself. I want to say that's helped me a lot, just self-awareness, because it's made me realize that, wait a minute, I'm feeling some codependent issues here, some codependent tendencies popping up because of my abandonment issues. I gotta hold on, wait a minute, gotta set some boundaries. I'm like, wait, okay, do I want you around because I actually genuinely like you, or do I want you around because I'm afraid that you're going to leave me, and so I'm clinging to the relationship? And that's helped so much. That's helped me weed out a lot of people who weren't healthy for me.
I think if I last year, I think for me, I kind of, my backstory for now is that I left the country, and I think me leaving the country was the best thing I could. I left because I was like, I gotta focus on me. Like, I'm important.
But wait a minute, let's just pause this. It was like, hey, I'm getting married. Will you bring my bridesmaid? Yeah, I'm out. I'm
in Korea, and I was like, wait, what?
I'm like, you could come back for it, or like, nah. I'm trying to figure out, like, I'm gonna be able to come back. Oh, all right. Well, I'm very happy.
I negotiated that. My contract. Like, I was like, I gotta go back. Like, they were trying not to let me go back, and I was like, listen, I quit. I will quit.
I was like, what you mean you leave? I was like, wait, can you have visitors? Can I come?
But
and then it was like, well, how far away is that?
Yeah, like.
Can I walk there?
It's fine. I was in South Korea. It was like 7,000.
Yeah, she didn't move across country. She moved out the country. She said.
Because I think it's important. I think America is very, like, this is a whole other issue, but I think it's very smothering to Black people. Like, you can't really learn enough until you leave that situation. It's like a traumatic. What do they call those?
A trauma bond?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, America's a trauma bond. I'm just gonna tell you, America's a trauma bond. But yeah, I left, and like leaving was like the best thing I could have did for myself, because I didn't realize. I read a quote the other day that was like, Black girls don't realize they're going through depression and anxiety. They just think they're failing, which is like, it was like the greatest thing I read, because that's how I felt before I left. Like, I was just struggling, and I always felt I'm an overachiever. Like, I like to succeed, and I felt in that moment that I was just not succeeding in the way that I thought I should be succeeding, and I was at a point where I was just so burnt out that I needed to leave, and it was the best thing I could have did for myself, because I started realizing things from other perspectives, and not just my perspective, but from a cultural aspect of being away from the culture that I was raised in. And like I learned like the things that I that were really destroying me as a person. And for that part, like I guess I have like a mix of the two, where I'm kind of like, I had codependency issues, but I also had issues where I was just pushing people away for no reason, just because I was afraid of like being abandoned and being, because I don't know, like
I feel like in every spectrum there's one end where you push people away, and then there's another end where it's just like, no, don't leave me.
Yeah.
Stay. And then there's a middle ground where it's just like, I want to push you away, but then at the same time I want to keep you.
Because, I'm going to be honest with you. I was like, yo, Cassandra, I've been with your brother for that long. Can we be friends? Yeah, nah. Oh, that's cool too. But then it would be like, yo, come to karaoke. I'm in there. I'm right there. I ain't going to sing.
It wasn't even that.
It wasn't that. It was on, especially because we grew up together. It was just like,
Yeah, it was just like, I didn't know.
Sisters, but we're not really
know
sisters.
You. Like, I didn't know. And like, it was that thing with abandonment. Yeah, she was there, but she was always in the basement.
And so,
but you have to understand from my perspective, it wasn't necessarily you. It was also that a part of my trauma, a part of my abandonment issues has to do with
women.
Not with women so much as men, but like my brother.
Yeah.
So it's like you were always around my brother. There was never a chance for me to be like, oh, Ashley, let's do this. And I was never that person like, let's hang out. I was like at home all the time. Like I didn't go anywhere.
Right.
So it was like, it wasn't a chance. There was never a chance for us to really grow a relationship. And, but yeah, like it wasn't like there was anything.
No, I'm
wrong.
just
I was
saying,
the opposite. I saw Ashley and she was like,
I was like 9 months pregnant.
And I was
She
like,
jumping on me. I'm like, it's a baby. It's a baby right here.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Watch out.
you my new cousin. Hey girl,
Hey, we best friends now.
It was not.
And
It was
like,
just like,
and it was never like, to be honest, even in that, like, it was never like, yo, she don't like me. It was like, it was like, yo, she gonna like me.
right. It was never, but it was
right
never,
here though.
like I never had a moment where I was like, I don't like her. Like I've had that moment with other people he's dated. Like I've never. Oh my god.
Shots fired.
Shots fired.
Pew, pew.
But like
we gonna
I've
censor
never,
that out.
in the
we
time
not.
that I've known you and known you to date my brother, I've never ever had that moment where I'm like, I just don't like her. It was just like, I don't know how to approach her. I don't know how to like be friends with her. And like I wanted to be friends too.
You gotta write a small sign like.
But right, like at that point in time, I wasn't really vocal about anything. I didn't have that voice. I didn't learn to have my voice until like 2 years ago, and not a proper voice. Like before that, I think I was so explosive because I was so tired of like.
I wouldn't say I would say reactionary.
Yeah, okay. I was reactionary. I think that's a better word. But like I was just reacting to everything because I just never had a voice. Like I was never, there was no one I ever went to talk to. I never had my mom because my mom was just, I don't think she really knew how to deal with me as a teenager and us growing up.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I never had that mode of like, oh, I have someone to talk to. I never had anyone to talk to. I was just by myself all the time. And so, and then I had the issues with the men in my family. Like the men in my family are just basura.
Not all of them.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
Yeah, not all of them. I won't say all of them, but all of the ones that
they have faults. I
wouldn't
say
they were basura.
Yeah, they have faults and they have trauma. And they have unresolved trauma. What I've learned in my journey, especially like looking back, especially dealing with both sides of my dad and my mother's side of the family, there is trauma.
Yeah, there's
like,
so much.
Deep-rooted trauma.
So much. And it's generational. It's like there's just like things that we, like I said, like our parents just, they didn't know how to deal with this stuff. Like we're like what, couple generations removed from segregation. My mom was just going to elementary school when segregation was ending, and so it's like they never had that space. They never had the ability to deal with it. And I think when you think of it from that perspective, everything makes sense. Like they were traumatized as children. They were going to school with white people who hated them. And they had to carry that, and then they had to raise children. So it makes sense from that perspective. And I think our generation has the ability to heal that generational burden and trauma.
And it's not even that they were being attacked on all ends of the spectrum.
Everything.
They were being attacked from outside and then within the family, because you have to understand, like, back then, like, families were having, like, 6, 7, 8, 9 kids.
Children,
and the oldest would be the, like, I've heard stories about my dad, like, being the oldest, and, like, whenever one of them got in trouble, he got in trouble for it.
I think
I'm like, that don't make no sense.
That's my brother. My brother,
100%.
My brother is always the one that got in trouble.
Always.
And, like, he sacrificed himself a lot for... So that
everybody.
So that we, like me specifically, because my little brother is like, what, 10 years younger than me? Almost 10 years younger than me. So for me specifically, and not so much my little brother because I think we were old enough at that point, but he sacrificed himself a lot. He would always get in trouble when I got in trouble, and I was always doing things. But it's just that thing, like, when I look back at that point in my life, it's like, I'm a child. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Right.
We're just bad.
I'm just bad for no reason.
And I wouldn't even say bad. It's just that we're finding a way to express ourselves.
Yeah, and that's it. We're discovering the things that we can and cannot do.
And I feel like because
they
our parents were so restricted growing up, they passed that
only
down
knew
to
how
us.
to restrict.
So they only knew how to restrict. Like, having a conversation, like when you and Lyric just talk, like we talk to Lyric like she's an adult, like a little adult. Like she's an adult. Like she's a little adult. We didn't have that.
Yeah.
We did, like, it was always I'm the adult, you're the child, stay in the child's place.
Yeah. So what I'll say in like in that comparison, because like I said, this is my bonus family. So like in my family, like punishment, it would be like, you knew you did something bad. You get home, TV is off, like it is right now.
Unplugged.
We would all sit around together, and it would be like, so what happened today?
Mm-hmm. No, we didn't do that.
And then, like, we would talk about it. And, like, clearly, you knew you was wrong as the child.
You knew you messed up.
You knew you was about to get punishment. And it would be like, no TV, no phone, no music. You gonna take my music.
Yeah.
My tunes.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Because back then we had CD players and LimeWire.
That's fine.
Little pocket thing.
And the cassette tapes.
Yeah.
That's fine. You can take that. You can't even read your books.
What am I do without Harry Potter?
Wait, no, don't take the book. Let me keep the book.
But these
Like,
are
and it'd be
faster,
like,
yeah.
yo, you lucky you could breathe, right? Right? Okay.
I breathe it.
Thank
Practice.
you. And that's 2 weeks. Okay. All right. Don't say nothing else or it's gonna be a month. So, like, in my entire family, we've cultivated, like, we sit down and we talk it out. Like, even with my cousins, like, we call each other, like, hey girl, what you doing tomorrow? Let's go out. Let's just talk about our own personal experiences, which has been super beautiful because, like, realizing my abandonment, my crazy codependency, my just overly emotional moments that I just express frequently to my friends and my family, where I find, like, with my cousins I could go to and I'm like, I'm about to catch a case, I'm about to kill this, it's done. Because what I heard him say was, and then they be like, all right, Ashley, but maybe he meant, I don't care what he might have meant, because first of all, second, first of all, and third of all, and we gonna circle back to one, because that's where I'm still at. And they're like, all right, that's fine. And you realize, like, even what you're saying, being reactionary, like you just scared. Like so much of the emotion boils down to, like, a living in fear. Mm-hmm. Like, you're afraid people are gonna leave you, so you don't let them in, but then you're also afraid they're gonna leave you, so then you just love them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you just hold on. And, like, I'll say, like, I guess with my parents' age difference and my mom being, like, a rebel at heart, that they raised me differently. Mm-hmm. Like, even from my sisters, because, like, I'll say my middle sister, she used to get whoopings. Mm-hmm. Like, they would be like, Ashley, you had to go to your friend's house. And I'd be like, okay. And, like, but that was her experience. My parents hit me twice. Mm-hmm. I was never the child that, like, I might have been a problem child because this mouth, okay? I'm going to shoot them daggers at you. I'm going to come at you. But I was never the one that wanted to let them down. Never the one that wanted to put them in a predicament where I saw them look at me differently. Mm-hmm. So, and that was probably some type of abandonment in my mind that maybe I didn't even know. And my mom being the youngest of two, my dad being kind of sort of in the middle, they had their own experiences. Like, my grandmother told me, she's like, Actually, the way I hug y'all, the way I love y'all as, like, my kids, and, like, I didn't love my kids like that. I love my great-grandkids the way I probably should love my kids, mm-hmm. hugging them, kissing them, spending the time with them. But my kids didn't get that. She was like, it was just me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They had dads, but she was like, until your grandfather got here, who is, he my grandpa, he my papa, but that's not my daddy's daddy. Mm-hmm. But he is. I don't care what y'all said.
Mind your business.
Right. Y'all stay over here.
Right. You don't know us. You don't know our life.
It was like he ingrained in them something completely different. Like, here you are deciding to marry a woman who already has children. Mm-hmm. So you're already, so in essence, like, this was somebody walking into a situation already breaking something. Mm-hmm. And then here he has all these beautiful grandchildren, which you would have never known we weren't his. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, look at this man used to cut the grass low enough so I didn't trip over it. Okay. Spoiled is deep too. I mean, sorry, y'all. But so
she's not sorry.
I'm not. Not sorry at all. But it comes, like, so he was already showing, like, I'm not gonna walk away from these kids. I love them. I'm gonna raise them as my own. And they all call him daddy, and we all do things like him. Mm-hmm. And so it created a situation in my family that was very unique and very different than my bonus family. So then here I am with my bonus family, and we getting into shit, and I'm like, yo, we gonna talk about it. And they're like, no. And I'm like, right. Wait, come back. I'm a real good talking.
And we're like,
no.
They're like, for
We
me,
ain't gonna talk for weeks.
Yeah.
For me, it was more so.
I still want to talk.
Me and Ashley always joke that she's the emotional one and I'm the more grounded one. Like she would like, let's do it emotions. I'm like, we're not doing that today.
And I think
as much as I'm self-aware, I'm like,
see, I'm the same way, but like I'm so emotional, which is the craziest part. It's like I'm so emotional, but like when I don't want to talk about that shit, I'm not gonna talk about it.
They be crying, and here I am. Hi, I have so much tears.
Yeah.
Let's just cry.
I
could cry forever.
I'm like, Ashley,
like,
I'm crying.
But I'm getting to
Make
the
it
point,
stop.
I'm getting to the point where like I'm learning what my boundaries are and I'm learning to set them. So like when something upsets me, I'm gonna tell you I'm upset. Like this shit upset me. Like we could talk about it if you want to, but I'm like, this not okay with me. This not sitting in my heart of hearts. It ain't sitting right.
But even that is like, so like here I am learning like, all right, I don't like to be left alone. People don't leave me alone. And now I'm not going to let y'all in. No. You can let these people in. But they can't get that deep into you where now you need them. Like, oh, you mean I don't have to need people?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So then when somebody violates that, it's like, all right, you're not going to pop off. You're not going to be like, hope you die.
Yeah.
If you trip today, I won't be sad. Like, you learn the balance within yourself, and then it's like the whole situation changes.
Yeah.
Like, yo, Cassandra and I just got into it a little while ago. And, like, she wasn't talking to me, and I was like, you just
left the group chat. She was like,
yo, she left 2 group chats.
But it's like me, because, like, it's because, and I didn't leave it because I was upset. I left it because I felt like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I felt like I needed to set my boundaries and I needed to kind of reset myself. And so not to flip out. Because, like, I was like, I feel like I'm not being understood. But I don't think that was the case. Like, after I kind of thought about it for a while, I was like, I don't think it's the fact that I wasn't being understood. It's just that I was viewing it from my perspective. And I wasn't viewing it from another perspective. And, like, so I left the groups because like I felt like I needed to reset myself and understand the situation better before reacting.
And I feel like having all 3 of us on different levels of feeling is amazing. Yeah. And sometimes it's annoying.
I'll be feeling y'all. But so even with her leaving, then when we finally had the conversation, it literally was, we had a miscommunication. We figured out our miscommunication, and then it was like, she was like, all right, so when I'm coming over, I'm like, bitch, come. Just tell me the day. I just show up. I'm because, like, just tell me the day, because I'm not real good, but give me the number.
Like,
because she was like, I'm going to come next week. What's the
number? I need to know. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Wednesday, Tuesday. Like, what do you mean?
Like,
I'm not
but
good
like,
with
that's the thing. Like, for me, like, I feel like I don't want to be reactionary. I want to be, like, I'm going to tell you I'm upset. And when I feel myself getting to a point where I can become reactionary, then I will remove myself from that situation until I'm not reacting anymore. And that's my point in moving and removing. Because when I feel like I'm being ignored, like, that's it. Like, it's a wrap.
It's another thing about
I do not, and it's abandonment, because that's how my family was. And like, I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it, but like it was just one of those things where I never had a good representation of what it was supposed to be when you can talk to somebody, and like how a conversation is supposed to go, or how like your feelings are supposed to be validated. And so I'm learning that people deal with that differently. Like, she won't respond to it. Like, she's like mad calm. Like, I just like, that's not what I meant. Like, and I'm just like, that's what you meant.
And I'm always like, no. Yeah. Let me reword and tell you what I'm trying to say.
But that's exactly it. So before I get there, I'm just like, all right, let me remove the situation and think about it a little bit more. Because like, I'm still coming from a place where I'm traumatized, and my only response was to be reactionary, because that's the only time where I felt like I was being heard. And so when it was me being calm, I felt ignored. Nobody was really listening to what I was saying. The only time that I got a reaction was when I was reacting, and that is not healthy. So yeah, it was never that like, I hate these people, I'm leaving this chat. It was just more, I need to leave before I say some stupid shit.
Just so you understand, it was 2 group chats.
2.
And
not
was
1,
like,
2.
It was just like notification, Cassandra's left. Where'd she go though?
Right. I was like, oh, she left again. Okay.
I'm a texter. I'm a texter. I don't care.
And I'm over here sitting quiet because I'm just like, I just.
You rude.
Right.
Well, that's rude.
I'm just sitting here like I'm just not gonna say nothing because I can't.
Yeah.
And
like, I would rather not respond or react because that's just where I'm at.
And I think it's also like even understanding the dynamic here.
Yeah.
So we got the fire signs. They gon' burn bridges. Then here I come with all the tears to try and cry it and calm it down. Because I'm straight water. Like it's like
facts.
You need water?
Water on top of water.
You thirsty?
I got it. Call me. I got it.
Oh,
so,
let me help you with your fire.
But then like when my moon come in, cause she come in, they be popping off. I be like, let's be petty. Let me throw a little dry leaves on you. Yep, now it's bigger. I don't got the oil. I got the dry leaves. Let's go. Because it comes natural to me. Cause I also, as a Cancer, I have a very protective spirit. Like, what you not gonna do? You're not gonna hurt my family. Cause I'm a thug. And I'm gonna pop off.
She an emotional gangster.
So I am. So, and that's also probably in response to abandonment, because it's like, what you're not gonna do is you're not gonna hurt these people. I'm gonna hurt them.
But you can't do that.
You can't do that.
Because if you do it,
I'm gonna drown you.
we fighting. And like, I'm not scared. But I also had to learn because in my reactionary is always to cry, to get petty, and then get vengeful. What I had to learn was that people all learn and grow at different stages. So, did I think about keying his car? Yes. Did some other things happen? Yes. I was not in my best moments. A little physical. Broke a couple nails. Shit happens. But then also, it was always knowing, like, this is not you. This is not you. Like, I could look at myself in the mirror and be like, bro, where is Ashley at?
Yep.
Because you ain't doing it.
And that's me with like...
And it's like the characters you bring out, because I had learned to be a certain type of person, to fit a certain type of mold where it worked and it was functional. And then like do my own growth and like just realizing like, yeah, no, I don't really think that's working. The mold wasn't fitting anymore. So I started like pushing out, and then it was like he was reacting, and I was like, oh, you don't like this? How about when I do this? You don't like that either, do you? I don't care. But then it was like that you have like this inner conflict with like the abandon you and like, yo, bitch, we good. Yeah. Like we're healing like and we're loving you.
And it's like I feel like healing is not. It's not
linear
ever.
It's like you have your moments where you set back, like you get back to the old like buck person,
and you
like,
snap back like
you're like wait, what's happening? And I think that's me with reactions. Like I knew like I'm not naturally a reactionary person. Like I'm very quiet. I'll sit in the back and I'll observe people. Like I don't like reacting. So when I do react, it kind of after the moment is settled, I'm just like, damn.
Right. But for me, it's more so I have to. Mine is me saying it or me typing it. So I'll be like, Ashley, is this good? And she'd be like, no, edit it. And I'm like, all right, bet. I'm like, all right, bet. Edit time. And I'm like, is this good? She's like, Jasmine. I'm like, what? This is nicer. She's like, it's not. It's nicer.
And then they'd be like, well, I already sent it.
So what even? Ma'am.
Why did you ask me?
She's like, did you? The
first question, a level 4 edit I need to do here, and you told me hit send. So I'm gonna just walk myself over here. Send me the screenshots, and I'm gonna just read.
But I also feel like you said, it's a reactionary thing. Especially with me, more so my abandonment was the women in my family, because I didn't have a nurturer to begin with. The women in my life, because they mistreated my father, they also in turn mistreated me. And that's very detrimental to a child, especially a female child, trying to learn to find her voice. And so my voice was lost. Very young. And so like now, I think when I turned 18, I was just like, I don't care. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. I'm grown now. You can't stop me. And I was just striking matches and setting fires and walking away. I was burning down cities, countries, world. Right. I was just like, I don't care. And it wasn't coming from a place of. It wasn't coming from a place of malice, but it was coming from a place of disrespect and hurt. Because I'm just like, y'all disrespected me, now it's my turn. And now it's more so of, I don't need to burn this bridge right now. Like, I can love you for where you're at, accept you for where you at. Like I said, I love you for free. But this relationship, I have to sever the relationship because it's not healthy for either one of us, because right now you're repeating a cycle and I'm not about repeating cycles. Right now I'm about growing and learning, and you see me as this one person, and that's okay that you see me as the old me, but this isn't the same me that's standing before you.
And that's the biggest thing. I think like it's not so much a severing of a relationship. Like I had to understand that a separation is not always permanent. Because for me, like, oh, you out? We done then. But it's never that. It's like I need to grow. I need to learn. I need to find myself. And like I was recently just talking to your brother and saying to him like, yo, we was toxic. And he was like, not to each other. I'm like, no, to ourselves. Like we were toxic to ourselves that needed like that love. And like similar to you saying the situation with the voice, like that's exactly it. Like that's a shared experience. When you don't have your voice, like my parents always let me have a voice, which is probably the problem I have with my kid. She got too much of a voice. And I just be like, yeah, girl, say that. You tell me.
And then like, wait.
And then I get a phone call from the school and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna talk to her when she get home. But then I'm on the phone with the school laughing because I'm like, oh, I got a parent, Ashley.
But how to do that?
Because she didn't. What she said
wasn't wrong. Yeah,
it's just like
she could have did it differently.
We should have worded it.
We learned the delivery tactics.
Like she was just telling me a story yesterday. I'm like, but was she wrong?
No,
she's like, you gotta sprinkle some honey on the words, baby. Just sprinkle.
She was like,
honey.
she ain't do nothing wrong.
Like I'm hearing
like,
this
but
story.
she did because it wasn't her turn. So it's just learning, like, when you don't have a voice, that in of itself is, like, a huge, and that could be a topic for another time. Like, when your voice becomes stifled, like, automatically, you're going to get to a place where you just end up being reactionary. Because it's like, now I'm going to get my voice.
It's human nature,
And it's not, like
now I'm going to say what I'm going to say.
And it's like you trying to take your power back, but then like there's much more graceful way of taking your power back. Because when you do it that way, the graceful way, it's like I'm gonna use a bad analogy right now. It's like you get high, and you're like, this what this felt like for all y'all this whole time. How I get another hit? Who else got my power? You got it. I'm coming for you, boo. I'm on my way. And then you slide over there, and you like, yeah. So what you're not gonna do is that. I set this boundary. You violate this boundary, you violate this relationship. We can come back to the table and talk about if there's the potential for a relationship, but where I'm at with it is this might be a deal breaker. You understand? I'm glad you get it. And because I came from that space, when I would have conflict in my bonus family, it's like, I don't know how to handle this. And then I would call them and they'd be like, yeah, what you gotta do is, and I'm like, but I don't do it that way. How do I learn that? And they like, all right, well, step 1 is block. Oh, you just go right for the block. Like, block them. Step 2 is if they contact you, curse them out. Oh, I don't want to do that either because like I still want to like them. No, actually.
No, we don't like them no more.
Like,
cut off. Done. Finito.
I'm that person that once I cut somebody off, it's over. Like I've never, like even in relationships, like romantic relationships, I've never. I mean, is that bad though? Like
a little bit.
Like,
I
feel like I was just about to say that. I'm like, that don't sound like what
it
culture. But it was never even from a place of like hatefulness. It was just like when I want to move on, I'm just gonna move on. Like I don't, and I think that's abandonment in a sense because
for me it was once I'm done, and that's it, and you cut off for good. Now I'm learning sometimes we just need breaks. Like you need a time out from each other. Like I need a time out from you. You need a time out from me. We grieve. It doesn't mean that I'm done with you. Doesn't mean that I don't love you. We just on time out right now.
And it's also even in that like. Some people you do just have to be done with.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like sometimes it's just like, yo,
cut that cord.
Bye. don't call me because I'm probably gonna change my number just because I don't want you, just you, to call me. Right. But it's also
put you on the no call list. Locked on everything.
Like the phone pop up. Maybe this person. It can't even.
Hello, T-Mobile.
There's a problem.
Block his name, his whole name. Block it.
Block any name that could be like potential, future, all of it.
Oh,
if it starts with these 3 numbers, but that could be your cousin. That's fine.
That's fine.
I'll text her. So it's like learning, even how to understand that with yourself. That like sometimes relationships aren't meant to be intimate relationships. Like sometimes you are just better off as friends. Sometimes like through all of it, the friendship was so lost that it was just like, now you're just coexisting. And then it's...
And coasting.
And it's like some weird type of codependency, like, I need you because you got this apartment, or I need you because, like, you cute, and, like, or I need you because I don't want to do it to nobody else. And, like, you could just not do it. It meaning sex, just in case we didn't catch that. Sometimes I'm childish. But it's so much in like of course one video isn't gonna do it for abandonment and even just like cracking the surface, but like when you really
haven't even touched the surface,
right? But like when you really realize it, like if you come from people who are abandoned, that's what they know. And it's like so much like
it's so ingrained,
right? And how you said like we are the generation, and like what they say so often about the baby boomers versus what are the ones after us called?
Gen Z,
America,
Jesus, baby help. Because
millennial. We're the millennials.
Because we're in the middle as the millennials, we have the benefit of being able to pull from our past, but then see the progress that the future can make and how it can be beneficial. And like I read, there's a meme that goes around, and I'm pretty sure everybody's seen it. If you haven't seen it, you're going to see it after this because I'm going to mention it, where it's like you can recognize that some things are true, that like your parents did the best that they can, but they were also dealing with their own traumas. And when you understand that and you see them just as humans, you erase the fact that this is my mom and my mom's supposed to do everything for me, or this is my dad and my dad is supposed to protect me and take care of me. And you really just see them as people who had to cope and then they had to raise you. And I watched a super powerful thing from Bishop T.D. Jakes having a meeting with his daughter, and they did it like on the stage. It was the cutest thing, where he was saying like most of the time when you become a father young, you are raising yourself, but then you're also raising your child. So every day you get a little bit better. And I have to say that even with Lyric, like every day I get a little bit better, and every day I learn to navigate a little bit more. And who I was a parent to her when she was 4, I'm not that same mom now. Some things are still the same, like Boo Boop's still gonna talk up, okay? She's still gonna
She gonna say what she wanna say.
And I'm gonna be like, you mad? Did she lie though? No. But in the same token, I've learned not to go into a place of, well, I'm gonna just beat her. Like, I've tried everything else, I'm gonna just beat her. And it's so much of learning, like, what do you understand from this? And then when she's able to communicate in a clear, concise, linear sentence, because sometimes we there for 10 minutes, what she understands is like, you have no idea. So let me break it down to you. And like, just imagine like where we would have been if our parents were like doing that step by step.
Right.
But nobody did it for them. And then like, but then they'll tell us that we're weird. I don't know.
But it's also the understanding of, at that age, especially younger than Lyric or Lyric's age and younger, we really don't know how to communicate our feeling. We don't know what we're feeling.
We need guidance.
We need guidance, but at the same time, it's just like, how can someone who doesn't know how to guide us or who's never gotten that guidance guide us?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They can't. So what do? They do the best that they can. And granted, my dad only beat me like a handful of times, like less than a handful of times.
When you were real bad.
Huh?
When you were real bad.
Yeah. I wasn't bad.
When she was real bad.
I was not.
She wasn't bad, but when she was real bad. Yeah. Because Dallas, I feel like, what I remember of Dallas, of course, like, this is your experience. I'm not trying to rob you of that. Like, he's super calm. Like, this dude don't get mad.
I got yelled at.
Nothing.
I did get yelled at.
Yes.
I did get yelled at. But my dad never really beat me because he didn't believe, like, he was, and on top of that, he was scared to beat me because he was like, I'm a man.
Yes,
you're a child and you're a girl.
Dallas was OG. He was the one that was starting to break the traumas in our family.
Yeah.
He the homie.
But even then, like my dad, even when my dad didn't have his own voice, he tried to cultivate me having a voice. But it was hard for him because, again, he's a man and he doesn't know how to guide me into womanhood. Like, and a lot of the time, like, I used to feel that the woman in my family robbed me of so much, but in all reality, they've taught me a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's
and not all.
It
and not
can
all.
be dual. Like, they can still rob you of things while teaching you. Yeah.
A lot of the times, the women in my family who I look up as a positive role model to me, they have taught me to stand firm in what I believe in, be who I am, love myself, and then love others too, but also not to take no shit. But then because of duality, on the shadow aspect, it was more so of me seeing things and seeing how some of my cousins were treated, and I'm like, yeah, nah, I don't want that.
It was like they were teaching that, and they were also teaching, but you can't do that to me. Like, you can't. Don't do all. I told you to do all that stuff. Like, stand firm, but you can't stand firm with me.
Right.
And
it didn't make sense.
It
did
did
not
not
add up.
Yeah.
So then within that, like, you're struggling within yourself. It's like, all right, so I do that with everybody else. I don't do it with you. But then do I do it with my dad?
Right.
Do I do it with my cousin?
And then watching them.
But what about
not do that with other people?
Right.
Like,
it was like the respect your elders thing, but I'm like, respect is, if you're saying that
You
respect
need
is
to
given,
earn
if you're
it.
teaching me that respect is given and it's earned,
right? Why am
I
just
automatically respecting you because you're my elder? Like, I should have a voice too, and not to have a voice just to be disrespectful, just to tell you how I feel.
Right.
In a healthy manner without you feeling some type of way.
I was just telling my mom that. I was like, y'all view everything as disrespectful when in reality we're kind of defending ourselves in a way that we never learned how. So it's like, I'm not trying to disrespect you. I'm reacting to a situation that upset me, and I'm trying to figure out how to respond and tell you that it's bothering me. It's not like I'm not trying to disrespect you or like anything like that. It's just like we just never learn. Like,
it's like, I'm not trying to disrespect you, but I also don't want to disrespect myself anymore.
Right.
And
that's exactly
and
it.
it's almost like, who's more important? Is it you or is it me? And like, I have to be with myself 24/7, 365, sometimes 66.
It is me.
So I will supersede you at any given point.
Yeah.
And you just have to hear it with the ears of me saying, you cannot do that.
And I think from that perspective, that's where I am now. I'm just like at a place where I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not just gonna be quiet and like not react in to certain situations that are bothersome. I'm gonna tell you, like, I'm gonna tell you that this is not okay. And it's like, you can either choose to respect that and understand it from a perspective that's, oh, this is not disrespectful, she's just putting down her boundaries, or you could just be disrespected and feel a way about it. Right. But like, I think from my mom's perspective, she's starting to realize what I'm saying. It's like, I'm not being disrespectful, I'm just done being that person who was so voiceless. Like, I don't believe in that anymore. I don't believe, because that person was so broken and depressed, like, all the time. Like, it's like, I'm not doing that.
I remember there was one leadership meeting that we had, and it was like right after I had recorded my 2 videos and had gotten all the backlash from a lot of family members, and I was like, I feel like my voice has been taken. And I was like, is it taken or did you give it away?
Yeah.
And I was like, whew, nigh with the
I'll tell y'all, Naga she come for your jugular, and then she be like,
I love you though.
I'm gonna just be quiet though. And her voice is so sweet, you be like, is my feelings hurt?
Right. I was just like,
they hurt. I might cry tonight.
Right.
That's fine.
Me and I have had personal conversations. She was like, they didn't take your voice, Jasmine. You gave it to them. And I was like, I did. Like, I came to a realization. I was like, I did. Like, because there was controversy and because they were offended and they only viewed what I said through their scope and through their lens, then I was like, okay, well, to appease you, for you to accept me again, I'll go quiet. I'll go radio silent. Here's my voice again. And I was like, damn.
That's true.
Damn.
And that's hard. It's hard to even like navigate that, because it's like, well, I'm gonna say this, and then somebody like, well, it's a problem. Oh, my bad. You want to take my video down?
I think right. In our family especially, it was always that nobody else needs to know our family business, and it's like, right. Well, we're learning not to really talk about anything.
We're not dealing with nothing. We're not dealing with nothing.
So,
we're not dealing nothing.
To be clear, in their family, nobody needs to know their family business. Not even their family.
Right.
So it's like what she went through, she can't even tell me. Wait a minute. I think I need to know. I want to know. Because how we going to fix it? Yeah.
Right.
So we not going to talk about it?
And so now we have people who are, well, me, and like I said, I said this a long time ago to myself. If this is something that I have to be a martyr for in the family, if this is something that I have to take the backlash for, then so be it. Yeah. Then I will be it. And I will gladly take that up. I will die on that hill. I will fight that battle. Because things like this, especially the videos dealing with sexual assault in the black community and black families, need to be spoken about.
This family got a lot of hush about
But the interesting thing is, like, it's not just the sexual traumas that need to be discussed.
Everything.
It's the mental, physical, emotional traumas, because all right, it was done to them. Like we've just established, our parents come from trauma. So if our parents come from trauma in any regard, it can manifest itself in any kind of way, and then create something else. So you got a grandma, grandpa, great grandma, grandpa that came from something. Like here we are. Like, to be clear, how far removed are we from slavery?
Exactly.
Right.
So we have a whole trauma that we're undoing. And then in that trauma, we're assimilating into a culture that then robs us blind. So it's like a constant. So then now they've robbed us blind. We done robbed ourselves blind.
And we robbing other people blind.
And it's creating like just this generational cycle, generational trauma, generational curse.
Right.
That. Like, then when somebody decides to go, yeah, I'm gonna just open this box. Like,
no, this Pandora box. Let me.
It don't even be like Pandora's box. It'd be like, how come we ain't moving that box all the way in the back? I'm gonna go get it. Boom.
It's dusty.
Oh shit. And now,
yeah, you sitting there holding the box like
the confetti is coming out, the snakes is coming out, the glitter, because you know you can't ever get glitter out.
Facts. And carpet too.
So it's literally like, then you got the slime coming out, because you know the new age kids got their slime. Oh so it's just everything's coming out, and then
the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, and it's just like,
and then here you are holding the box, wearing it like it's your Scarlet A. It's you saying no more, and like it's what you have to do in your abandonment, your codependency, your just unhealthy, toxic bullshit, your narcissism, your gaslighting. All of it. You gotta just be like,
you're people pleasing.
Ooh, that's a good one, because I do that. To be clear, I do that. We could talk about that next time.
Yeah.
I also, in my abandonment, Jasmine doesn't even know this, is she challenged me with a question recently, and she was like, are we pushing this person away because we're scared? And I was like, wait a minute. Who told you to look into my soul that way?
We do it to each other all the time.
And I was just like, and like, because I'm now in a space where like I'm not afraid to say it, I'm like, yeah, it's absolutely that. And I'm absolutely okay to say, hey, I'm afraid to do this. I'm afraid to be this intimate, this comfortable with you, because I know at what cost it could come for me. I know what it feels like for me to be abandoned, and I don't know, because we know healing is not linear. I don't know that girl who can revert to that she ain't still like, here come my claws, bitch. Ready? Game on. And then I'm in a cycle, and then I'm in a place, and I'm like, here it is all over again. And when you walk away, what am I left with? I have to pick myself up and clean it all up again. And it's even talking about it, like, I feel so uneasy, like it's in my stomach and it's in my throat, that I'm so uneasy with it, because I didn't like who I was. I didn't like looking at myself in the mirror. Now, I mean, y'all could tell I'm being this camera like,
hey, look, I got a head wrap on and I'm still like, hey,
y'all, call me. Y'all, don't call me though. Don't call me. Follow me on YouTube. There for you blessed. I'll be tagged, okay?
Cassandra's about to have her YouTube soon.
Like and subscribe. Cass does all things, okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
She
Yes.
she does all.
Yes.
She's
tag.
I don't use it though, but it's there.
She's there. A family that creates together stays together.
Know that, but just know that in your abandonment, even if watching this video is your first step, because you're like, abandonment.
What is that?
Like, black girls can be abandoned?
Yes.
Like, what you mean?
I feel like black girls are the most abandoned.
Yes.
I will fight you and say that I feel that black boys are the most
Yeah,
abandoned.
black boys.
I will say that.
All right, yeah, I get that. Yeah. I say that too. Yeah.
Definitely.
But what I also will say, if this is your first time even exploring it, and it gives you that step to say, wow, I didn't know that, I didn't see that, like, yo, reach out to me, like, I'm
reach out to all of us.
Secretly, I'm everybody's friend, like, immediately. Like,
she is.
Like, girl, message me, boy, message me.
She everybody's friend.
Making friends out of nowhere.
I love it. And like, I'm going to Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan. I don't know where the girl live at, but I'm her friend. Cause
and where we going? Chicago.
Yes,
Chicago.
We going to Chicago. We met our friend in DR, girl. Don't forget.
I forgot she was in Chicago.
She the homie. I am so open to listen to your story and to talk to you. And like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I might not be able to help you because I couldn't help me. But if my story piqued you, like, I know people who will reach out to you and talk to you and set up meetings with you, sessions with you, and can guide you, and I could refer you to anybody under the sun, because it's time.
It is.
We are in a place where we've got to heal ourselves, because everything is connected to your healing, your money, your success, how you view yourself,
your confidence.
If you can't look at yourself with an outpouring of love, you can't be confident and successful in anything. And I think that even speaks to what you were saying. Like, you felt like you were failing. Like, yo, you weren't failing.
Yeah. We were just depressed as fuck.
It felt like failure, because when you looked at yourself, you didn't know who you were looking at. And abandonment will do that to you, because you put on so many masks. And it's at some point, like, when you pull them all off, you're like, yo, that's what I
was
really
actually
look like.
thinking about what you said. You were like, people pleasing. It's like you, not people pleasing, but like you literally in abandonment and in just not having a voice, you learn to be so many different people for different people, because you have to learn how to make them like you.
Yeah,
or
you
like
put on so many masks, so many wigs, so many hats, and then at the end of the day, you're like,
who am I? Like,
who am I really? Like, am I really like this, or did I just build this person so this other person could like me, or to keep these people? And it's hard. Yeah, we're not, because 2020, I was chiseling away.
Yeah, like 2020, and 2021 is your year. Like this,
it's a year for healing.
It's a year.
The year almost out. So if you feel
2022,
you ain't get it all in 2021, don't be like, it's over. No,
nah, you got time.
Keep doing it.
Right, keep going, keep going.
Just because, like, it's a beautiful unveiling. I said it in front of my daughter, and it's the cutest thing that she says to me. Like, I was like, I finally looked at myself one day in the mirror, and I saw 19-year-old Ashley. And, like, that Ashley was, like, the most confident. Even if it was, like, the fake it till you make it confidence, because that works. Like, she was the most confident, the most self-secure, the most prepared to take on the world. And she said to me one night, like, we were laying, and I don't know why she was up so late, but she put a little hand on my face, because she's so sweet like that. I tell you, kids is great, but don't have no babies if you ain't got no babies. She said to me, she said, "Mommy, when you look at yourself, do you still see that girl?" And I told her, I said, "No." She got a bit sad, and I said, "Because at 19, I wasn't your mommy. At 19, I didn't have the experiences that I had to create you, to cultivate you, to love you, or to even love me." I said, "But in all that undoing, like, I see myself with those eyes, and like, I love who I am." And like, you know, kids don't always understand, so then we had to have a couple follow-up conversations. And all which are fine. Like, if you ever meet and spend time with her and I, we just be chatty Cathy's, because she the homie.
She is the homie.
But you just, once you learn to really see yourself and love yourself, it's completely different. And then like you learn, like, when somebody says something to you, now is my time to be quiet. Like you learn in having your voice, like, I don't need to say anything to you.
Right.
Because you learn, as Kamoy would say, this some you shit. This ain't my shit.
Right.
So you deal with your you shit, and I'm going to be over here, and I'm good with that.
And as Miss Kim says, sometimes your silence is what is needed. Sometimes your silence will fuck someone up more than just you saying something. And I think
she don't say the fuck up part.
She don't. I added that. She don't. Miss Kim don't curse.
And if she do curse, she's popping off. But sorry, Miss Kim.
Sorry, Miss Kim. But like going back to what you were saying about loving yourself, I think to add to that, you have to love yourself in totality. Everything from your fupa to your like everything. To if you know that you have an attitude problem, love that part of you. Like, love every aspect of you.
Learn to deal with it.
Right. Learn to deal with it and heal it now.
Like, don't just be like, this me,
right,
and I'll pop off. No, be like, I love that.
But we gonna work on it.
But
I'm gonna work on it.
I'm gonna smooth out that rough edge.
Right. But love every aspect of yourself wholeheartedly. And that's a part of my journey where I am in right now, where I am learning to love myself wholeheartedly, the good, the bad, and the indifference. Because we all know that I love my little nerdy ass. But there are some aspects where I'll be like, I don't know about you. I don't know about you, girlfriend. But I'm going to love you anyway. And then loving our old selves, loving who we were, because they died so we could be here.
I mean, I look back at my kid self and I'm like, you went through so much. Like, you were kind of crazy, but you didn't know any better. Like, it's okay.
You knew how to be crazy.
Yeah. Right, that's all you know. You know,
respect your past selves, because your past selves led you to where you are, and in whatever journey you are now, like in the trauma healing journey, whatever end of the spectrum you are there's no way that anyone completely heals, but you can, I don't know,
always be better.
Yeah.
And I think it's always like understanding that, like, the girl who you were 5 years ago prayed to be the girl you are now today.
Yep.
And not just a girl. Like, don't get me wrong. Dudes do that. Okay. Recognize your stuff too. I'm just a girl.
But we women.
So it comes from a girl's perspective. Sorry.
We women's.
Fight me. Don't fight me though. I'm not a thug all the time. Sometimes I like a good high five
or a hug.
I'm a hugger. But if you see me on the street, don't just walk up to me for a hug, because that's awkward.
Yeah.
Okay?
Don't be awkward.
Read the room. Read the room. But even still, like, it's just recognize and be so patient and gentle with yourself. Like, if you take 4 steps back in something, just be like, I have to learn something here that I didn't learn. It's like the analogy that Kamoy gives. Like, sometimes when you're going through the levels of a game, you're just killing it, and then you get to level 8 and like you're not killing it anymore, but your homie is like on level 12. But then once you finally get to level 12, homie is not killing it, because something on level 8 taught you how to navigate on level 12. But they didn't need to get that, because they finessed it. So you just have to recognize that, like, and then sometimes you on level 12, you beast up to 15, and then level 16 shoot you back down to 13. You like, wait a minute,
you're like, whoa,
I did this twice.
I saw this already.
But you learn something new, and with those new eyes. Because I'll tell you, there are things like, somebody will say something to me, and I'm like, yo, I wasn't ready to receive that when you told me. I couldn't receive that. And now that I receive that and I take that, it's a completely different ballgame. Like, let's go. Party time. So, we run a little long.
Right.
I'm getting a little bit hungry. So, I just want to say, feel free to reach out. You'll I mean, we're going to go on all platforms, so you'll see the tags. Follow us. Reach out to me. I'm dead serious. Reach out to me. Like, if you send me a Facebook message, I might first be like, how you find me, though? But then
Who is you?
But I will talk to you, and if you need any further assistance that I might not be able to give you.
We know people who know people.
And I know some people who know some people who could know some other people, too.
Facts.
If you need a situation taken care of.
All
right, well, I ain't say that. Holla at me, though. I'm not illegal, though. Okay? But, yeah, just don't be afraid to talk about it. Don't be afraid to speak your truth, because that's the most powerful thing. I think it's hard to admit you got these issues.
It is.
But then when you do, it's like, yo, I got a little bit of abandonment, a lot bit of codependency. What you got? How you fix that?
It's like Pokemon cards.
Let's trade notes. Let's trade notes.
Is there yo? I got the gold abandonment. What you got?
I got silver. You beat mine, but on the codependency, I'm rocking with a platinum.
I'd be like, oh, I only got bronze in that.
All right, so I'm gonna tell you how to get through that bronze level, because I finesse platinum, okay? I got the arsenal, okay? So you just, and like, also don't be afraid to talk about it with your friends, like, and it's awkward, it's weird, it's uncomfortable. Like, I'll tell you, one of my best friends, Nicole, like, major shout out to her, on one of the hardest days, she stopped doing everything that she had to do, schoolwork, taking care of the baby. He not a baby, JR a grown man, but taking care of my nephew, being there with her husband, and came through and picked me up because I was in tears. And then we sitting at Cheesecake Factory, and I'm crying, and she's like, Ashley, you know. And I'm like, Nick, I know you don't know what to do, but you stopped everything that you were doing and picked me up and brought me here. Like, that's enough. Because like, I was in a space, and like, even just now, like, recognizing what that was for her, to just be like, yo, I can't, like, can y'all take care of this so I can go take care of her, and sitting across from her and talking to her and crying in front of her, and like, just knowing like, I am safe, I am protected, like, this is my friend. And it's awkward, because like, sometimes maybe you don't got those friends that you could just be that naked with, but the ones that you do, be that naked, be that vulnerable, be that uncomfortable. And
it's so healing.
Even if it's weird for them, like, afterwards you can be like, I got a good cry, so I'm done.
I call Ashley all the time, like, she's like, it's okay, you could ugly cry. I'm like, I don't want to ugly cry.
I be like, you need to do it, so go head on. I'm going to just be driving. Because I'm always driving. If you're looking for me, I'll be driving. So I might not respond to the message right away, but it's coming. But yeah, just do it. I think I'm a talker anyway. Hence, I've been talking a lot. But probably why my throat is bothering me. Whatever. But just don't be afraid to do it, even if it's writing, because I'm also a writer, and there were nights I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't feel comfortable talking about it, and I got pages upon pages upon pages upon pages, and it was just like, I'm freeing myself. But then, like, don't just write it, like, read it. And
go back a couple months and then read it.
Nah, don't wait a couple. I mean, I don't wait a couple months.
I go back. I'm like, dang, I was going through it.
Yeah. Right.
But then you learn something new about yourself.
And you start to see yourself with those new eyes, those healed eyes, those loving eyes. And like, yeah, love yourself in totality, but love yourself unconditionally. That's a good book to read. Yes. Love Without Conditions. It's got a picture of the white Jesus on it. If you're looking it up on Amazon. I don't think Jesus is white, but he's a white man on the cover. It's a really good book. And even like The Mastery of Self, The Mastery of Love, The Four Agreements.
Four Agreements, yeah.
Those books, like rereading The Mastery of Love, like,
it hit different.
It was, for me, it was like, I thought like it was about loving somebody else. And then I realized like the somebody else was myself. And it was like, whoa. That's what they meant on page 42, because I didn't get that the first time. Let me write these notes real quick. So, you know.
And just have a team. Like have a strong, solid team. Like, I can literally call Cass and Ashley. I'd be like, I don't know what's going to happen. I feel like I'm in some fires. Ashley, I might need your water. Ashley, like, wait. What fires? Why are we setting fires?
Sometimes those
Cassandra be with the shits, though.
I'm going to tell you. Like, sometimes, certain situations, she be telling me, and I be like, that could be a dope fire to watch.
We don't need that water. We don't need it.
I'm not even in the mood to cry. So then the petty comes out, and I'm like, ooh, this could be a dance.
But yeah, have your team.
And have your team people who will challenge you. Like, my best friend Maja, that's my A1 day one for real. Like, for real. And she will literally be like, I'm not doing this with you. I'll be like, wait, can we do it, please? She'd be like, no, because you're not listening. And I'm like, wait, what did you say that I didn't listen to? Because all I heard was, we're not doing this. And she'd be like, I told you 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, right. You did. I didn't listen. And now we're here. So can you tell me again? She'd be like, no. And I'm like, all right, well, I wrote it down.
Thanks. Shout out to Chris, though, because Chris be doing the same thing. He's like, I told you to do this. And I was like, I like when one listens the hard way sometimes. He's like, I see.
Some people learn the first go round. Might take me 32.
I might take the long way around. Who knows?
I prefer scenery. How about you? So and it's also like, don't be intimidated by people who seem healed and got it going on.
We ain't got it going on. I still need hope.
And not only that, like I'll say this, like, even like with Miss Kim, sometimes I'll be like, I don't know if I want to talk about this. I feel like we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
Facts.
And then like we'll get in and we'll be talking about it, and I'll be like, yo, this is the same but different this time. And it's like,
it's like another level.
And like, even thinking about it, like even with Kamoy, like sometimes I'd be like, all right, well, let me just call Kamoy right quick, and we'll be talking. And she'll be like, actually, I was just mad at him 3 weeks ago. And I'm like, that was just recent. All right, this is normal. Okay. Because sometimes you need that, like, notice to know, like, hey, it's normal. Mm-hmm. So know that it is, I can't say always. Usually it's normal. Sometimes it's not. Sorry.
That's all we got, y'all. That's all we got. We perfectly imperfect over here.
So, thanks for coming to our TED Talk. Was it a TED Talk?
It was.
Mm-hmm. Maybe not.
Maybe not. Never mind.
Maybe TED Talks are only 5 minutes.
Right.
But
hey,
thanks for staying this long. It's not even a 5-minute TED Talk.
She a hater.
Oh. To be clear, I make my haters my motivators.
Thanks.
Mic drop. But thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Again, reach out.
Feel free. Email, Facebook Messenger. I ain't gonna give y'all my number though. That's kind of weird.
Like this video, like and subscribe.
Thanks.
Subscribe, share, tell a friend to tell a friend.
Hit the bell.
Tell a friend. Hit the bell.
Oh.
Hit the plus.
You don't have to hit the bell for me because my videos are sporadic.
Mine too. Like this, I haven't been posted in a minute. So,
but you could hit the bell because I'm about to be hitting y'all with the real estate knowledge. So come through. You need a real estate agent, holla at me.
Facts.
Ashley Townsend Daniels. You know what I'm saying? That's me. I'm gonna do that. I make dreams come true. I make magic. But side note, do like and subscribe. I'm lyrically blessed. I'll be tagged below. Jasmine is nomadic goddess. She'll be tagged below. Cass does all things will be tagged below. Mm-hmm. She gonna be on there sometimes. Maybe not. She sings on there though. She got mad singing videos. So.
Facts.
And she could sing.
She got vocals.
Facts. I didn't get vocals, but I will sing it.
I ain't got vocals. I'm gonna sound like a dying cat. I'm a dub it though.
We gonna end this video.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
All right. Bye.